Hello, today I'm going to talk about the Banggood Arduino car toy robot that I purchased. I purchased it online. It came in a couple weeks and it had actually all the parts. It's supposed to come in something like this, but mine was a little bit different. It was just a foam kind of package bag, but it did have all these parts. When you open it up, you have the main plastic board. Some people leave the paper on, some people remove it so it's clear. I liked it clear. You have the power, the wire for the motors, the battery pack, some assorted screws, 2 tires that are rubberized tires, a little screwdriver that reverses there, and you can have a Phillips or flathead, a rear trailing wheel, 2 DC motors that also can read a revolutionary counter disc, and there's 2 discs. When you open it up, that's what one of the motors looks like, and I believe this motor is assembled incorrectly. There's a little metal plate here that is supposed to key up against this little nub, so whoever had this set up, I think, did it wrong. There's 1 tire, there's the side, has a little bit of traction. Battery pack, some extra wires, the little screwdriver, the assorted screws, and the revolutionary counter discs. So that pretty much describes what you get with this. Some of the pros and cons with this. First off, it isn't level. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not level. Let's see, second, connecting the wires, the plus and minus wires to the motors. The connection is very flimsy and can break very easily. If that tab breaks off, motor's no good. So you're going to have to solder it and then immediately secure the wires to the main board somehow. And 2 problems there. One, all the holes they give you are quite small. You're going to have to drill them out. It would have been nice if they had different size holes or something that you can connect this to. That would have been nice. Second issue is you don't know which wire, the plus or the minus cable, go on which pin of the motor. I believe it does make a difference depending on how you hook it up in your motor shield. If you try putting the positive in the positive and the negative into the negative, and you've soldered it incorrectly here, the motor will spin in reverse when you want it to go forward. And then you got to remember, switch the wires, because you really can't unsolder this very easily. I guess you can, but you got to be careful. You'll start to melt this plastic housing. So, that being said, there's also no instructions on which way the motor should face. Does this face over here? Or does it face backwards? Well, everyone on the internet was connecting it backwards. This is the back. This is the back. This is the front. It goes this way. So I put the red one on the bottom and the black one on top. And you got to reverse it because you're flipping the motor over and turning it upside down backwards for this side. So that was a little bit of an issue. The second issue I had was that there's a little pin right here, and here. And that's where the revolutionary counters go on, and they're inside my box right there. And what happens is, when you put them on, they're very loose. In fact, they actually fall off. So somehow I'm going to have to glue them on or get a little set screw and set it in that little hole and lock them on. Again, a little bit of pain in the ass. Third thing, this trailing wheel doesn't really spin very well. It should spin. It shouldn't be able to do that. And what's going to happen is it's going to be like that, and it's going to go forward, and that wheel's fundamentally going to do nothing. So why even have a wheel if it doesn't spin correctly? So you got to grease this or loosen this up a little bit, or put some WD-40 or some sort of light grease in there, very light grease, because you don't want it to get on the board itself or in the motors. but that's just a pain. Also, this wheel has a little ridge right here, and the wheel's very smooth, so it just kind of scoots along. You might want to take some emery cloth or sandpaper and score this and so that it has some sort of traction once you get this spinning nicely. That will definitely help and reduce any sort of drag on that little wheel. And the wheel's kind of hokey anyway. So there's a couple other things that are good about it. These little rubber tires are actually nicely made. They definitely will work just fine. When they spin, they wobble a little bit, but not a big deal. And it is nice that it has the revolution counter available built into the housing. So you have this little transmission type of setup here where the motor drives the wheel and drives also a revolution counter. So I have not tested the revolution counter yet, but I imagine it'll work just fine. The other thing that actually this company has that's better than some is this connection right here for the motor housing. It actually connects through 2 screws through the top into a little aluminum billet that is hollow, that it has holes, and allows you to actually connect through the motor and connect to it and secure it nicely to the plexiglass. I've seen some that have a little tab that just fits into place, and you put the screws in, and it's kind of shifty. I don't like that. I want it to be solid. Other than that, that's the only other little benefit is they give you some extra screws to anchor things down up here. That's kind of nice. I had to go to a local place here and get some screws and some washers for another Arduino setup, and the screws were like 20-30 cents a piece. They can be expensive because they're so small. I imagine if you try to find a little screw that goes into that, it's going to be pricey. It's going to be 20-40 cents a piece. So if you have the screws or have extra screws like this kit gave you, hey, that's killer. Well, that's about it. I hope that this offers some insight into this. And normally the battery pack is supposed to anchor up here like this. There was some negative comments that why doesn't the battery pack connect under here? Well, the motor, these pins are all in the way. You can kind of get my hand out of the way there. You can kind of see that it's too bad if the plexiglass was just a little bit wider, maybe an inch or two, this could fit underneath, feed the wires up through here to the Arduino, and happy trails. But it's only 11, 12 bucks. What are you going to do? So for the price, you can't beat it with a stick. Then you'll need to put, your servo motor up here, and there's pinouts here to do that. And then you have your Arduino up here, and hopefully somehow you can maybe stick the battery pack underneath some way. Maybe that's an option. Hopefully it doesn't tilt like that. But or you can get some extending rods and extend here. This is where it connects. The battery pack connects in these 2 holes. Maybe you can get it so it extends down a little bit and put the battery pack underneath somehow. I don't know. These are kind of large, or long. Well, that's about it. I hope this helps. Take care. Bye.